No one expected General George S. Patton to reach the Rhine first, not his rivals, not his allies, and certainly not Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, who had built his entire strategy around being the man who would make that historic crossing. So when the news broke, when a frantic aide rushed into Montgomery's command tent whispering that Patton's troops had already seized the bridgehead, the air inside seemed to freeze. Montgomery's hand, steady as stone in battle, trembled just slightly, because this wasn't just a military surprise, it was a blow to pride, reputation, and the quiet rivalry that had shaped their war. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Montgomery stared at the map, at the wide blue line of the Rhine that had challenged armies for centuries. He had planned an elegant assault, a carefully coordinated masterpiece. Patton, on the other hand, had simply forced his way through with speed, grit, and a stubborn refusal to wait. And in that moment, Montgomery felt something sharp inside his chest, an uneasy blend of admiration and frustration. Outside, the wind rattled the tent flaps. Officers whispered in clusters. Some were stunned, some were impressed. A few even smirked nervously, as if history had just played a joke no one saw coming. Yet Montgomery didn't raise his voice. He didn't curse Patton or fate or the relentless pressures of command. Instead, he closed his eyes for just a heartbeat, letting the weight settle. He thought of the men under his command, the sacrifices ahead, the expectations on his shoulders, and he wondered, was winning the glory more important, or winning the war? That question cut deeper than any rivalry ever could. Patton, miles away, stood at the river's edge as tanks rolled across the captured bridge. The Rhine shimmered like liquid steel beneath the afternoon sun. Soldiers shouted triumphantly. Some wept, some prayed. Patton didn't smile. Instead, he felt a quiet, surprising ache. He knew Montgomery would see this move as a challenge, maybe even an insult. But Patton hadn't done it for ego. He'd done it because every hour mattered, because hesitation cost lives. Back at Montgomery's camp, dust spiraled in the slanting light as an aide waited anxiously for his response. The entire staff held its breath. A single sentence could ignite conflict or strengthen unity at a time. When unity was rare, Montgomery finally spoke, slowly, measured. His voice carried the weight of duty rather than pride. So, he murmured, "George has crossed. Good. Let him push. The sooner we end this, the fewer mothers grieve." The aide blinked, startled. This wasn't the bitterness he expected. It wasn't surrender, either. It was something deeper, on acceptance that leadership sometimes meant stepping back so victory could step forward. Still, Montgomery felt the sting. He felt overshadowed. He felt human. And in that vulnerability was the truth every commander faces. That history remembers victories, not the egos behind them. As Montgomery prepared his own crossing, he moved with a renewed fire, not to outdo Patton, but to ensure no soldier under his watch felt forgotten in another man's triumph. The rivalry no longer fueled him. Responsibility did, and when his troops finally crossed the Rhine in a coordinated surge, moving like a single unstoppable tide, the whispers around him changed. They weren't about Patton anymore. They were about every soldier who marched, every engineer who laid the pontoons, every medic who steadied trembling hands, because war was never won by one man. And when a reporter later asked Montgomery what he thought about Patton's earlier crossing, he answered with unexpected grace, "There's glory enough for all who bleed for it." A silence followed, heavy and meaningful. For once, rivalry bowed before respect. In the end, both men pushed the Allies closer to peace. Both carried scars no one else would ever see. And both learned, in their own way, that pride is a luxury war cannot afford. Because courage isn't about being first. It's about refusing to stop moving forward. And just like that, the Rhine, once a symbol of division, became a reminder that even the strongest rivals can serve the same hope.